Hi there, it's Lloyd from Neptune Software. Let's have a look at the Open Edition module of the Neptune DXP solution. We will have a look at the majority of the tools at your disposal within the cockpit, showing how they piece together within an architectural diagram. And I will briefly show you each of the tools inside the platform as they are introduced in the diagram. The Open Edition module is running as a Node.js runtime. This can be hosted anywhere, from your own computer to any cloud service provider. The entire cockpit is browser-based. By default, Planet 9 will boot up with its own embedded database, SQLite, so you can get going without having to connect to any external databases straight away. At the heart of Neptune Software's multi-experience development platform are the apps. Applications built with Neptune can range from minimal, functional and independent to highly complex and deeply integrated with data from numerous different systems. All applications utilize the Open UI5 framework components. Any application built within the platform can be run as a standalone web application. However, it is best to utilize the power of the Neptune Launchpad to present the applications. The Neptune Launchpad is a shell that hosts Neptune apps and provides them with services such as navigation, personalization, and application support. The Launchpad is not part of the Open Edition installation, but is available within the Planet 9 store and can be downloaded from there for free anytime to get the latest updates and features. We'll introduce the store a bit later in the video. To display applications within the Launchpad, each application needs to be assigned to a tile. You can also assign external URLs to tiles. Tiles allow control over application access, so who can view which applications. These tiles are then assigned to tile groups. Tile groups represent a subset of apps that is visible to a user on their Launchpad if the user is assigned the same role as the tile group. Rather than assigning the tile a role, you can bundle them all into a tile group and then assign one or more roles to each tile group. These tile groups can then easily be assigned to any Launchpad. Users can access the Launchpad to view the tiles. As previously mentioned, they can only view the tiles in the tile groups that have the same role assigned to both the group and the user. It's easy to manage users and their roles within the user tool within the cockpit. This role also controls if the user has access to individual cockpit components. A group is a collection of users. Groups let you specify permissions for multiple users, which can make it easy to manage the permissions for those users. For example, you can have a group called admins and give that group the types of permissions that administrators typically need. Any user in that group automatically has the permissions that are assigned to the group. Applications can be built in a few different ways. Each offers its own unique advantages. The app designer is the best all-rounder, great for most requirements and levels of complexity. It is an integrated, low-code development environment, allowing you to drag and drop components, assembling multi-page applications that can utilize internal and external API data, custom JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. The designer has a number of features built in that utilize data and configurations from other tools within the platform to make development faster, easier, and more straightforward than other more traditional app development environments. The adaptive designer is the no-code designer, which utilizes adaptive templates combined with any data source to enable different customizable applications that can be built without any coding. This is a brand new feature being released at the start of 2021 and will ship with a number of key templates, also known as adaptive frameworks. These allow anyone to build list-based, edit-based, or even table and chart-based analytical applications quickly and uniformly. This designer is best for simple requirements that don't require any custom logic or functions. Complementary to these two ways of creating apps is the app editor, which is an editor for developing applications using React and Vue. This is a pro code editor tool, but can still consume APIs built within the platform. It is perfect for creating fully customized applications that can run alongside other low-code or no-code applications within a launchpad. Finally, there is the low-code PDF designer, which looks and feels similar to the other designers. Here you can create custom PDFs based on any requirement with drag and drop functionality. Once designed, these can be dynamically triggered and generated at any time from anywhere within the platform. All these applications are going to need some data to be useful. That is where the table definition and table browser come in. These two tools allow you to create and maintain the databases connected to your Open Edition module. The table definition contains a table schema definition and metadata, such as the table's data format and related properties. You can import database schemas from external sources to automatically generate the definitions, or of course they can be defined manually. The table browser is used to view the table data and allows you to add, delete and update the data records. In order to connect these tables with applications within the platform or with external sources that need to save data to the tables, Neptune DXP provides an innovative API designer tool. The API designer within the Open Edition provides a graphical user interface for creation and configuration of API definitions. The API designer makes it easy to define and update APIs at any stage. It makes APIs reusable for many applications. It can automatically generate, create, read, update, and delete methods for any tables that are created within the platform. And it's quick and simple to set up and maintain external APIs with any number of operations and different authentication methods. These authentication methods are maintained within the API authentication tool, which supports the creation of basic, OAuth 2, and standard token-based authentication, alongside SAP principal propagation, providing you great API security infrastructure. Alongside this is the API certificates tool, allowing you to create or import certificates with a few simple settings, enabling SSL-based authentication. Whilst we're talking about the API designer, we can introduce the other supporting tools that tie into it. The API client is an application to test the response of an API. You can select any of the APIs created within the API designer and easily test calls with different parameters to check the responses within the interface. The Swagger UI tool serves a similar purpose. Swagger UI lets you visualize and interact with the API resources without having any of the implementation logic in place, making it easy for back-end implementation and client-side consumption. Again, here you can select any of the APIs created within the API designer to test. Alongside this is the API trace tool, which gives you transparency over how many API calls are being made by applications to the server, alongside who ran them and when they were run. The Neptune Open Edition also supports OData. OData is a REST-based open web protocol for sharing data in a standardized format for easy consumption by other systems. These protocols can utilize the same authentication methods set up for other APIs within the platform and can be consumed within applications just as easily. Now, earlier we were introduced to the adaptive designer. I mentioned it utilizes adaptive templates to form the foundations of the apps. I also want to introduce the concept of application building blocks, which are the new way for Neptune developers to accelerate their application development process. Application building blocks are the components that you can use as an application developer to build Neptune apps. An application building block can consist of a small piece of modular functionality, just a few elements grouped together, for example, such as a page with a header and a footer, or a single API definition. Or they can be much larger collections of elements with lots of custom functionalities, such as an entire application framework with tables, APIs, and JavaScript all bundled together. Both the application templates and application building blocks are available within the store. This store is embedded directly within the platform and everything is free. You can simply download any of the store items and they'll be imported straight into your instance, ready to use or to modify to meet your requirements. New blocks are added to the store every week, and lots of the store items are updated regularly too, so you can simply re-download to get hold of any new features and functionalities. Once downloaded, you can use application building blocks or adaptive templates within the app designer and the adaptive designer. Or any APIs downloaded from the store can be seen within the API designer. Neptune makes it easy to upload and manage media files. The media library is a component to store various media files in one place and use them whilst configuring Cockpit components, such as assigning a background image to a launchpad. And when building applications in the app designer, it's easy to bind components to anything stored within the media library. The media library supports all types of files, such as images, splash screens, icons, documents, videos, and even audio files. Now, we've covered the majority of the high-use components you'll come across within the platform. Let's talk about how these applications can be distributed. Alongside the ability to simply just distribute the URL for your launchpad, which contains all of your applications and users can access it from anywhere, there are two main distribution methods that offer some additional advantages. First are progressive web apps. A PWA is essentially just a web page with an extra wrapper around it that gives some additional functionality. A PWA can be added to the home screen of a mobile device, making it look like a regular application. It also shares a lot of the same functionality as a regular application, with the ability to use the camera, use biometric authentication, and even receive notifications. To turn a launchpad into a progressive web app is as simple as ticking one box in the launchpad settings. A hybrid native mobile client takes the concept of a progressive web app one step further, adding a more integrated container around the web-based launchpad that enables more direct communication between the application and the device. Unlike a PWA, which can be simply added to the phone, like a bookmark, a hybrid mobile client must be downloaded and installed. But this allows it to perform extra functionality with the help of Cordova plugins, such as QR code scanning or establishing Bluetooth connections. The Open Edition provides the tools to create a zip file with all the resources required to build iOS and Android applications. Now, let's have a look at some more of the supporting tools that allows you to implement practically any kind of custom functionality that you might need. The script editor is a tool to create server-side scripts. The runtime for scripts are a node environment running inside a separate process when triggered, or globally as a process always running in memory. Scripts are used to extend your instance beyond standard configurations. With a script, you may automate processes, add functionality, integrate your instance with outside applications, and more. The possibilities are endless. The server script is required when you need to perform time-consuming calculations to avoid blocking the user interface, or when you need to access data which you'd rather not send to the front-end application. Server scripts, built in the script editor, can use many different resources within the platform. You can communicate with APIs, tables, and even NPM modules. The Open Edition module has integrated NPM functionality, meaning you can download, install, and use any NPM module. It's even easy to switch between different versions. This makes it possible to extend the platform with any custom functionality. These NPM modules can be used by server scripts or within the app editor. All this custom functionality requires custom code to be written. To help manage and speed up developers' workflows, Neptune has the Custom JS Helpers tool. Custom JS Helpers are a component to customize or build JavaScript code snippets. You can build your methods, functions, or code modules and use them later whilst developing, accessible in the code editor simply by right-clicking. Sometimes you might build a script that needs to run at a certain time of day or on a regular interval. To achieve this, there is the script scheduler, which does pretty much what it says on the tin. It's also possible to use server scripts to send emails. These emails can be configured in the Emails Templates tool. These templates can then be used by server scripts to send email notifications, utilizing data from the server script. Another tool that enables lots of custom functionality opportunities is the Workflow Designer. Workflows ensure the right work is brought in the right sequence at the right time to the right people. It is a tool designed to facilitate and automate processes that require tasks to be performed in sequence by server scripts or by users. A graphical drag-and-drop designer makes it simple to design flows that can pass data through scripts, which can return true or false flags, or via users to approve, deny, or save the workflow requests. Users are able to interact with workflows through the Workflow Inbox application, and this application is downloaded from the store, just like the Launchpad, and is dedicated to present any workflow items to the user who's accessing it, assuming they have the right role. This allows you to assign workflow items to specific users, who can action the items within the Workflow Inbox app before it moves on to the next step in the workflow. The Workflow Designer can also use the Email Templates tool to trigger notification emails when workflow items are pending, have been approved, saved, or rejected. Workflows can be triggered by any application or triggered manually within the Workflow Overview tool. There's a few other tools that can be really useful. The Documentation tool allows you to create documents for any of your applications. This documentation is available for users to see in the question mark button in the upper right corner next to their username. The Theme Designer is an editor to customize the look and feel of your apps by changing the color scheme, fonts, and CSS whilst providing a live preview of the customized theme. These modular themes can be applied to apps or launchpads. Neptune also provides translation capabilities in a number of different parts of the platform, integrated directly with Google Translate, making it quick, easy, and seamless to translate text components within the App Designer and Adaptive Designer, plus within the tile groups. There are a number of other key tools worth highlighting here that represent more DevOps functionalities. All the development objects, like APIs, apps, OData, themes, and others, can be assigned to a package, which is essentially a group of these objects. These packages help you keep things organized and makes deployment quick and easy. Deployment refers to deploying or migrating all or part of the Open Edition system or application from one environment to another. Elements can be selected individually or simply select the whole package to automatically select all the elements. The deployment can then be transferred to a remote system. Remote system settings will allow you to connect your system to another remote instance of the platform. For example, you can connect your development and production environments so you can easily transport between the two. There is a tool to help you test that your code is working as expected by creating and running unit tests. You can create and keep track of development issues with the tracking tool. There's a process monitor giving you visibility of available node processes running within the instance. And a performance measurement tool allowing you to test the Open Edition server for API performance metrics. You can, of course, configure a number of system settings for push notifications, SSL, the HTTP port, the database, you name it. It's easy to adjust, save, and restart the instance from here. The system logs gives you persistent records of a number of different activities within the platform. You can even create logs, for example within server scripts, to keep track of additional information. Finally, the last tool to mention in this overview will be the Help tool. This is available all throughout the platform as context-aware helpers next to input fields, and by clicking the question mark on any part of the cockpit, which opens the respective documentation for the tool. Now we've had an overview of the majority of the tools within the cockpit, we can strip it down to the basics and group them all into functions. This gives a much clearer picture of how all these tools work together, all feeding into the apps and being presented to the users to access and use.